Hey everyone, this is Sarabjit. Looks like we're streaming live on YouTube. Let me check for a second and let's let everybody join, as many people that can join, and then we'll get started. So just hang tight for just a minute or two, and let the algorithm work its magic so that way we can get as many people on the session as we can. And let me also make sure that we are live on YouTube. Okay. Okay, looks like we've got some people on our live. I will monitor comments throughout the program. Hey everyone, this is Sarabjit. Looks like we're streaming live on YouTube. Okay. I think we're good now. Give me 1 second. Okay, I will try to monitor comments as we go. So with that, let's get started, you guys. My name is Sarabjit Daya. I am your coach and mentor in the Business Analyst, Scrum Master arenas. I have extensive experience I started out as a junior business analyst, project lead, Scrum Master. Most of my experience in the Scrum Master domain comes from the hybrid environments. And then I've also got tons and tons of experience in project management and program management. And I am still in the industry. I often find lots of universities like Cornell and like some big hotshot universities providing courses in business analysis and Scrum Master domains. And unfortunately, their curriculum is not teaching you the real way projects are implemented. Most of their curriculum is just textbook knowledge on what the best practices look like. And as we know, best practices are best practices. And sometimes, most of the time, I've noticed throughout my career, my domain, that we don't have time or the resources um, or even the capacity to follow the book approach of implementing IT projects. So my courses that I teach and then also the content that you'll see on this channel are all geared towards practical experience. And I've got lots of feedback from you guys. I'm so thankful to you guys for using my content and giving me positive feedback. It is absolutely appreciated. It gives me the nudge to keep going. So I want to express my thank yous and my gratefulness. I am grateful to you all. Honestly, it can be hard. It could be hard to juggle a career, family life, and then continue to create content. And sometimes what I need are those comments from you guys, a positive feedback to know that I'm headed in the right direction. So thank you once again for for using my content and for giving me positive feedback. I highly appreciate you. So today, as you know, I run a training program, and a lot of my students generally have to do case studies. And even in my Facebook group, I get a lot of questions to help in doing those case studies. A lot of companies that are hiring business analysts and Scrum Masters nowadays are requesting that you complete case studies. And so today, I'm going to go through and give you the framework on how you can complete any case study that you may need to, that you may get requested to, right? So I'm going to give you the framework. So regardless of what case study you know how to get started. And then we'll do one together. I may not be able to finish the entire thing today, and it's unlikely that I will, because I want to give you, guide you through the process and continue and make sure that you are well versed with what we're doing. Okay. So we'll get started today. I'll give you the framework. We'll get started today. And then next week on Sunday, I'll post the timings on Facebook and YouTube as well for you guys to join me, and we can finish out the case study. And if you guys have others that you'd like me to work on with you, send them, and I can do another live session and do those together with everyone, so it benefits you. And then also, if you have other topics that just aren't sitting well for you, or you want me to go deeper on some topics, let me know in the comments. In any of my comments, I review all of your comments. So let me know what topics you want to learn about, and I'm more than happy to create the content for you specifically for what you're needing help and support in. Okay. So as we get started, let me know in the comments if you are watching this live with me, or if you are watching this as a replay. That helps me gauge the timing to see like when most people are available. As I said, I'm still in the industry, so the weekends work the best for me, because with the work environment, it can get stressful and too much to try to manage. So the weekends, Saturday or Sunday work the best for me, but I can try to gauge the timing on Saturday or Sunday based on when you're most available. So if you have a preference, put that in the comments too. So let me know if you're watching this live or replay, and then let me know like kind of what timing works best for you, and I'll try to time my live sessions as long as I can maneuver my family life and my personal life around that. I'm more than happy to accommodate your timings. Okay, so with that, today, as I mentioned, we are going to be, let me just make sure, give me 1 second. I'll make sure that there's no comments so far. Okay, no comments so far, no questions. Okay, so with that, today, okay, cool. All right, guys, let's get started. So again, the topic for today that I'm going to cover is how to do case studies, right, for interviews. Lots of companies are requesting that you guys do case studies, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. So the case study that we'll work on together is for a data communications. I'm going to share these slides with you in this video, so that you may have this as you could download this and have this as a takeaway from this session. And I'll continue to build these slides as we go through today and next week on the progress that we're making. So just some things that you should know before getting started. So definitely read the case study at least 10 times and then get started, and then just start from somewhere. It doesn't matter where you start from, right? And I want you to know that when you're working on these case studies, there's no right or wrong answer, right? They're just trying to see that you can take something and think about it logically and be able to come up with a solution, right? And as you know that oftentimes, and I'll say 99.9% of the time, you are not going to be able to talk to any stakeholders, right? You are not going to be able to ask any questions. So therefore, it becomes really, really important that when you're reading a case study or working on a case study, that you just get started, right? As I said before, there are no right or wrong answers, right? It's not like everybody has to have the same answer and then you get hired. All they're looking to do is they're trying to determine whether you have the skill set to take a problem and try to identify a solution for it, right? And as I have said many, many times on my videos, there's many, many ways to skin a cat. There's no right or wrong answer. They're just looking for you to show how you got to that final result. Okay. Number two is it's important to understand the instructions of the case study. Oftentimes you're being tested on following directions. So oftentimes they want only to see the requirements. They may only want to see your process flow diagrams. And sometimes they want to see everything, right? So you definitely need to follow instructions and send them everything that just what they need. I will talk about this in the next slide. There may be some documents that you want to show or send. And what I would do is package them as optional, right? And I'll talk about how to do that in the next slide. So number 3, again, only submit what is being asked for in the case study. Organize all of your artifacts in one PowerPoint presentation. So a lot of times, for me, and this is a personal preference for me, and I always share what I've done in my career and what I recommend and what I would do with you guys. So again, this is a personal preference. You don't have to do this, but I would like when let's say I'm receiving a response from candidates, instead of seeing like a bunch of attached documents in one email, I would rather have one PowerPoint presentation that takes me, like, that tells the story, right? That I don't have to figure out which attachment I have to open first or which one's related to something else. Organizing everything in one PowerPoint presentation that tells a story is, again, a personal preference, but I would love for you guys to use that because it makes it easier for your interviewers to have that consolidated view of the work that you've done. Number 5 is add professional look and feel to your artifacts. The interviewers may not say that it needs to be formatted correctly, or that it needs, the nice look and feel. But imagine getting the case study responses from 20 candidates, and only 1 or 2 have taken the extra time and effort to organize it and have headers and footers and page numbers and a good size font and making sure that it's organized, right? Who do you think that they're gonna go with, or whose documentation are they gonna maybe look at first because it's easy to follow, right? I've done series of videos on my YouTube channel that show you how to do professional Word documents, PowerPoints, Excel documents, right? So these are the key documents that you work on in your day-to-day life as a business analyst or Scrum Master. So if you have not already watched those videos, and I'll try to link them in this video as well in the description, I highly recommend that when you're submitting your case study documentation that you put that professional look and feel, because it will help you out, no doubt. Okay. Number 6 is submit your case study at least 1 hour before it's due. Do not wait till the last minute to hit send. Oftentimes, I'm hearing that interviewers will say, you need to complete this within 24 hours, or whatever time frame they're giving to you. Make sure that you submit it at least 1 hour ahead of time. Number 7, always request confirmation to ensure that the recipient has received the case study. Oftentimes, you guys are sending in very big attachments, and professional email addresses, Microsoft Office and others may have a size limitation. And so it is always highly advisable that you are sending, that you're confirming that your interviewer or somebody has received your case study, right? So send the attachments and ask for confirmation, but then also send another email that doesn't have the attachments and say, hey, Mr. John, whatever the last name may be, John Doe, I've just submitted my case study documentation. Please, can you confirm receipt? And what that does is it shows that you've already submitted the work, and that also you are following up to make sure that they've got it. So in case it got bounced for size limitations or whatever the case may be, you are following up to make sure that they've got the documentation. And number 8 is always ask for feedback and areas of improvement. You may or may not get the job, especially if you don't get the job. Ask for feedback. Like, you spend a lot of time to pull this together. it's always a good idea to say, hey, John Doe, I understand, haven't heard back from you, would love some feedback. If you have some time, 10 to 15 minutes to walk through and give me some feedback on areas of improvement, or send me an email with your feedback. I'd love to see how I can do better next time around, right? And that showcases two things: A, that you are still interested in the position, and number two is that you want to improve and do better, right? And if I were looking for people, and even if we as a company selected somebody else to go with, I would always keep you if this is the type of things that you're looking for, and asking as a backup, because oftentimes people that we hire don't always work out. So it's always good um, to have that relationship, and then continue following up, right? A lot of people, they do the case study, they didn't get the job, and then that's the end of the communication. I would always recommend, continue following up with those team members that requested case studies, because you never know when there may be another opening. Okay, so these are just things for you to consider before we get started. And then let's talk about the framework of the case study. So number one, again, read instructions, only provide what was requested. And I want you to think about the case studies as a math problem. So oftentimes when we're doing math problems, like the complex ones, right? Like calculus or geometry or whatever the case may be, we have to show the work, right? We have to show how we got to the answer. And this is how you could show the answer, right? Show the work and submit these documents as optional. So as I said, only submit what they want. So let's say if they want requirements, only submit the requirements. You can then have another document that is called optional/supplemental documents that shows the workflow diagrams that you may have done, or the use case diagrams, or whatever supplemental information, like showing the work and how you got to the answers. Mark that as optional supplemental documentation to your interviewers, so that way they have an opportunity to look at how you solve the math problem, but it's not something that they need to do, right? So I would highly recommend that. Number two is submit document assumptions. This is a key thing here. Oftentimes, the case studies are pretty confusing, right? And we don't have an opportunity to ask questions from stakeholders or anybody else. So it becomes really critical for you to document assumptions for the case study, so that way you can limit the scope of the case study, right? If the interviewer is saying, looking at your work and you have documented assumptions, then they know that you've thought the process through, and your response or your answer to that math problem is going to be defined in this area versus like in like a bigger, wider scope. So definitely always document assumptions. And I said, it's like a math problem. Case studies are like math problems. You got to show the work, and you can show the work in various ways. Depending on the case study, you could do a use case diagram, you could do an as is, you could do a to be, you could do prototypes / mockups. You could do whatever is required, whatever you think will help you get to the answer, right? So this is showing the work. You're going to identify business rules, business requirements, or user stories. So depending on the organization, like what SDLC they're following, SDLC is software development lifecycle. Depending on what SDLC they're following, let's say if they're in the waterfall, then you would document business requirements. If they're in the agile environment, you would document user stories, okay? And then, as I said earlier, present package case study in a professional look and feel, because it makes it that much better for you guys. Okay. All right. Let me check to see if there are any more comments. Give me 1 second. Let me check. if there are any more. Okay. Okay, I don't see any comments as of now. So I will share my screen again. Okay, so let's look at the case study. So this is a case study that we're going to be working on. As I said, I'm going to give you a link to the slides and this case study as well, so that way you have access to this. So I'll read this together. TTS is a train ticketing system that enables train travelers to purchase tickets at train station machines for immediate or future travel. DCC owns the system, but it was built and hosted by a third-party service provider. However, a defect has been identified where discounted tickets can be purchased without a valid rail card. As a result, the TTS in some cases incorrectly is issuing discounted tickets, and the train regulator is considering fining DCC as a result. You have been assigned as a business analyst to work on the business to write requirements to send to the third party to fix this defect. An initial workshop has been held and the high-level statements have been created. Discounted tickets can only be issued to travelers with a valid rail card. Note, a valid rail card is one that is valid on the date of travel. Discounted tickets can only be purchased with a valid rail card. A report is needed to show the number of discounted tickets issued. The validity of the rail card needs to be checked in real time. Therefore, your task is to write some requirements to send to the third party for them to fix the defect. We appreciate this is an artificial case study, and you won't have access to stakeholders to ask questions. Therefore, you are welcome to submit to make assumptions, but please state upfront what these are. We aren't assessing your knowledge on the train ticketing system, but on your business analyst skills. For the purposes of this exercise, please send your completed artifacts to your recruitment agency email address. We will ask that you send 10 minutes. We ask you to spend 10 minutes at the interview and talk us through the artifacts produced by you, and we'll question you and then we'll question you about them. Also know that there are different industry techniques for documenting requirements. Please what you think is the most appropriate technique, and you're also welcome to add diagrams if it aids your analysis. There isn't a right or wrong technique or style here, but please expect to be asked to explain why you have selected the choice of technique used and preferred method of documentation. So this is the case study that we're going to be working on. As I said, this is a real case study that one of my students needed to work on, and I thought it would be a good sample for us to do. So here, I'm going to give you the link to this and the assumptions. So even they have said, document assumptions about, what assumptions you may have. So just thinking about this, what I would do is, I think my assumptions thinking about this is, it says that discounted tickets should only be issued to travelers with a valid rail card. So it sounds like they need to have a valid rail card to purchase any discounted tickets. So like my first assumption is going to be for the rail card. So rail card is, I'm going to say proof is what do I want to say? I want to say that it seems like a rail card is like a driver's license, but without, it's like a form of, it's like a library card, right? You apply for one and you get one. May showcase like your residence or whatever. So I'm going to say rail card is like a library card that is required to be, that is issued by, I'm gonna say by training by the railroad authority. I'm gonna make up this thing right here, right? So and we're gonna say rail cards expire every year. So from date of issue to 12, I'm gonna say it's valid from date of issue to 12 months, new, so, and I wanna say, rail card holders are expected to renew rail cards before expiration. And I'm also gonna say expired rail cards can also be renewed with a fine. And I'm also gonna say rail card are issued by the, and I'm gonna say they're free of cost, because it looks like if you have a rail card, you can purchase discounted tickets. If you don't have a rail card, you could still purchase tickets at the regular price, but the rail card gives you the ability to buy discounted tickets. So I'm gonna say, these are my assumptions. This is what I would do if I were working on this case study, is to list a bunch of assumptions like this, because what it does is now it helps me in thinking about how to move forward with this case study, right? It sounds like people that don't have the rail cards are buying tickets, discounted tickets, and that's not cool, right? We want people that have rail cards to buy tickets, discounted tickets, okay? So these are my assumptions. Now, how do I get to insert slide? Okay, now how do I, based on my case study, right? How do I get to do this? They want discounted tickets to be only purchased with a valid rail card. A report is needed to show number of discounted tickets that are issued and the validity of the rail card. So how do we fix this defect where people are able to purchase discounted tickets without a rail card? So for that, I'm gonna need to create a workflow diagram to help me think through how this may work. Right, so this is the tool that I'm using here is called draw.io. I'll provide a link in the description area for this video so that you guys can try it out too. It's a free online workflow diagramming tool, and it's pretty cool. Actually, it's got lots of bells and whistles. You could do even prototyping on here. Hold on. So it's actually a pretty good tool that you guys can, if you're in this area and are trying to get into business analyst, Scrum Master domains, and want to learn how to do workflow diagrams. This is a free tool that you can use to practice, and it's pretty decent. You can also do some level of prototyping on the tool. I'm not trying to sell it to you. It's free of cost. I have no association with it, but I use it in my training program to teach my students on how to do workflow diagrams. So it's a great tool for you guys to learn on as well. Okay. Now, so thinking about the case study, I'll go back again and look at it. So it says we only want people that have the rail card to get discounted tickets. So here is what I'm going to try to pull together. So the oval shapes are used as start or finish. So I'm going to start my process, and so I'm going to, the start could be purchase rail discounted tickets, or maybe purchase tickets. And then the process that we needed to follow is validate consumer has valid, so that's probably a decision. So if they have a valid one, which is not expired, then they can purchase and if they don't have a valid one, or they don't have one at all, they can just purchase regular priced tickets. So that's the flow that we have. And I'm not gonna put here the payment information because that's not changing, right? This decision and this validation is what we're putting into the system. And it doesn't seem like that's there today, but consumers from the kiosk seems like they're able to pay for their tickets, and that's not the issue. The issue is us adding in this validation piece. So this is what our future state is going to be. I'm going to say this is request and put rail card. And then I'm going to say if they don't have it, there's one process. And if they do have it, there's another process. So instead of going from here, we're going to go here. They have it, we're going to check if it's not expired. Now, the industry standard says that you should not have one decision after another. So if you don't have, I'll put this in the middle. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, so this looks good. So here is what our future state diagram needs to be. It looks like if we needed to do a current state, we could do that as well. And if we did that, this is what it would look like. I move this down a little bit. And then I'm going to copy and paste this. And then I'm also going to label this. So this is going to be my to be. Because it's always good practice to label diagrams. Okay, so the difference with the current state is that people are being able to purchase discounted tickets even without having a real card or a valid one. So it looks like this is happening. So even though they're being maybe requested to put in a real card, it sounds like they are, but even whether they have a real card or not, they're still being able to purchase discounted tickets. And what maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have done this. So this, I feel like checkpoint is missing. Have a real card, yes. No. So it feels like whether they have a real card, like, or not, they're still being able to purchase discounted tickets. I think this is what's happening today. Again, based on my assumptions, based on my understanding of the case study, and the requirements that we need to write are to add this validation and this key checkpoint in here for our case study, right? So here what I'll do is, as I said, it looked like, because in the case study, they said they wanted to see supplemental documents. Hold on. It looked like they wanted to see supplemental documents. We will go ahead and copy and paste that into our case study. So I'll do as is, I'll copy that back into my slide. And then we'll do the same for the 2B. Okay. So for, I'm going to share my slide one more time. So far, what we've done, as I said, if you're looking at the framework, we read the instructions a couple of times. I read them a couple of times with you as well, right? And I read them before this to prepare. We documented what our assumptions are, and we're now trying to solve this math problem. And I felt that for this one, we didn't need a use case diagram, right? Because we're fixing a defect. And so we're not building a new system. We're not trying to figure out who needs to use that system. We're trying to, we created a current state and future state diagrams. I don't think we need prototypes or mockups for this. We could go to that extent if we felt like it, but I don't think at this point we need this. So the next step is going to be for us to document the business rules and the business requirements, and we'll do those next week. Okay, so we've done a lot of the hard work in identifying where the issue is and what we're trying to solve, what the pain point is in the system. And next week, when we meet together on Sunday of next week, we will finish out writing the requirements and get it packaged and ready for us to submit. Okay, if you have any questions throughout this case study, please leave them in the comments. I will get back to you. I do look at all the comments myself and respond as quickly as I can. If you have any questions about this case study or what we're doing here and what doesn't make sense, please let me know in the comments and I will address them in the comments, or I will talk about those questions in our live session next week. Okay. So with that, that's all the time that I have today. Next week, we'll finish this one out. And again, if you have other topics and other case studies that you want to work on together, please let me know. I'm always looking for content ideas, right, from you guys, and I want to give to you what you want versus what I think you want. So please use me as a resource and let me know how I can help you and help you throughout your journey. Okay, so with that said, thank you so much for your time here today. I look forward to connecting with you in the near future. Take care. Bye.